Oh, there he is. There he is over there. Do you Can you show me where to plug that other thing in? I don't know where to do that. Doesn't seem like it. He may not realize. What's that? Oh,
Chocolate frogs.
the chocolate frog. Oh, wow.
Yes, I like chocolate.
Wow. Thank you. Yeah. Come in. La 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Sing. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. The words are very easy. All it is ya la la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Shabbat shalom, everybody. It's great to see all of you this evening. Let's see. I want to invite. I'd like to invite Abby and Andy, and Graydon and Amanda to come on up. Let's light the candles together. Come on up here.
Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Beautiful job. Amen. Go ahead and have a seat. Shabbat shalom, everyone. All right. And happy Passover, by the way. It's also Passover. Let's take a moment to turn to the people sitting around us. Wish each other Shabbat shalom. Now, welcome. So this is the second in our series of experimental services. This one is called Contemporary Shabbat. So we're going to have a little bit of a different musical feel than we did last time. And we're also going to be reading the Torah this evening, which I think has probably been a while since we've done that on a Friday night at Temple Beth-El, but that's part of the service that we've created this evening. And a reminder to you, when we finish services, please come down with us to the atrium where we're going to have the conversation about the service and debrief the experience just as we did a couple weeks ago. So I'd like to invite us, before we begin also, when you came in, you received this pamphlet in your book. On one side, it has the QR code. This is for a survey we'd like for you to complete at some point at your convenience about the service tonight afterwards. And then on the other side, there are some readings that we're going to use in our service this evening. So now I think you have the roadmap, and I'd like to invite you to turn, please, to page 12. We'll begin with Psalm 95.
Sing out to God, the maker of all, sure and strong. Let all of creation from mountain to sea hear our song. Lechol neranena, lai 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 lai, nahariya, yai lai 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 lai. For all of the wonder and all of God's light, we rejoice. So now let us listen with all of our hearts to hear God's voice.
On your handout, let's read responsively by paragraph on the left side. This is a reading by Rabbi Jacob Rudin. We Jews have known thankful time and wisdom's time. We have linked our small lives with the measured centuries. But Jews look beyond the hour, which is striking. We listen to the larger rhythm of wisdom's time and thankful time. We have listened upward to the height of God's infinity. We have looked inward to the heart's depth and the heart's sounding. High in faith and deep in spirit, we have measured the content of our time and found it good. good in the measurable time of a person's life and of their children and grandchildren, good in the immeasurable time of God's being, and in the endless capacity of human beings to grow. On page 13, Psalm 96.
Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash, Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. Sing unto God all the earth a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God and we'll all sing along. All the earth unto God a new song. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. I will sing unto God a new song.
On the right side of our handout, responsively. We are loved by an unending love. We are embraced by arms that find us even when we are hidden from ourselves. We are touched by fingers that soothe us even when we are too proud for soothing. We are counseled by voices that guide us even when we are too embittered to hear. We are loved by an unending love. We are supported by hands that uplift us, even in the midst of a fall. We are urged on by eyes that meet us, even when we are too weak for meeting. We are loved by an unending love, embraced, touched, soothed, and counseled. Ours are the arms, the fingers, the voices. Ours are the hands, the eyes, the smiles. We are loved by an unending love. On page 20, let's sing to welcome Shabbat into the world, Lecha Dodi.
Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, Yishmeyanu el hamyuchad, Adonai echad, Shemo echad, L'shemu tiferet v'litila, Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, Ki mekor ha'beracha, Merosh mikedem mesucha, Sof ma'aseh b'mashvat tehila, Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri, hitoreri, Ki va'orech kumi ori, 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 shir daberi, Kevod Adonai alayich nigla, Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela.
If you would like to rise to greet the Shabbat bride, I invite you to do so now. You may also choose to remain seated.
Bohi v'shalom ateret bala, Gam besimcha u'betzola, Toch emunei am segula,
the bottom of our handout. Current culture places no value on boredom, but boredom offers a lot. For one thing, it can give our frantic, exhausted selves some rest. We don't have to do anything. We can just sit there and rest in the open space of nothing to do. If we can rest there, we might learn to stop fearing this unfamiliar emptiness. Into this empty space, many temptations will appear. But we don't have to respond to any of these. We can continue to just sit there, becoming a little more familiar with this cool, quiet sensation of doing nothing. Later, we can get busy again. Shalom Aleichem on page 24.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Olachem leShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barekuni leShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Zeitechem leShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
On page 28, I invite you to please rise. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed, Le'olam va'ed. Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. On page 30, together in English. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzvaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Page 32.
Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Ukim u'mishatim, Otanu limadeta, Otanu limadeta, Halkein Adonai Eloheinu b'shokbeinu, uvkumeinu nahasiach bechukecha, ונשמח בדברי תורתך ומצוותיך לעולם ועד, כי הם חיינו לאורך ימינו, ובהם נגה יומם ולילה, נגה יומם ולילה, ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל. Listen, Israel, Adonai, our God is one. Join with me. Listen, Israel. Listen, Israel, Adonai, Adonai, our God is one. Our God is one. One more time. Listen, Israel, Adonai, Adonai, our God is one.
Page 36.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. Love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words which I command you on this day shall be in your heart, shall be in your heart. Teach them faithfully unto your children. Speak of them when you sit in your house and when you walk by the way, when you lie down and when you rise. Bind them for a sign upon your hand, that they may be a symbol between your eyes. Write them on the doorposts of your house and upon your gates and upon your gates. Teach them faithfully unto your children. Speak of them when you sit in your house and when you walk by the way, when you lie down and when you rise, and when you rise.
Page 41. I'm sorry. Page 39.
Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it's eternally Egypt, that there's a better place, a promised land, and the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there's no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together, singing la 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 la.
Page 40.
La 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 la. Chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot, osei Adonai. Who is like you, Adonai? When Moses and the children crossed the sea, they sang to you with songs of joy. Who is like you, Adonai?
Page 43, at the top together. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up, waiting to do your will. Baruch ata Adonai, hapores sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Page 44. Ve'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Ve'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam, oti le'olam. Ve'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat. Sing along. La'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz. Ve'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi'i shavat vayinafash, shavat vayinafash, shavat vayinafash. Ve'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Page 46, please rise.
Adonai sefatai tiftach v'hofei yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch ata Adonai, Eloheinu, v'Elohei avotenu, ve'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה. האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. You are forever mighty Adonai, giving life to all who are on earth. Mohorid ha'atal, providing dew. Mechalkel chaim bechesed, mechaye hakol berachamim rabim. Somech noflim verofech olim, umatir asurim, umekayim emunato nishenei afar. Michamocha bal gevurot umidol melach, melech mimit umechayeh umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman ata v'hachayot hakol. Baruch ata Adonai, mechayeh hakol. Top of 53. Days pass and years vanish, and we walk sightless among miracles. Join me. God, fill our eyes with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like lightning, illumines the darkness in which we walk. Help us to see wherever we gaze that the bush burns unconsumed, and we, clay touched by God, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder, how filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh. We continue in private meditations using Hebrew or English, using the language of our hearts, standing or sitting as is your custom.
Yehu leratzon imrefi v'egyon libi. Yehu leratzon imre fi vegion libi lefanecha Yehu leratzon imre fi vegion libi Yehu leratzon imre fi vegion libi lefanecha Adonai Tzuri Adonai Tzuri v'gohali Adonai Tzuri Adonai Tzuri v'gohali Go inside your heart, just be Go inside your heart and see what it wants, what it needs, what it yearns when you breathe. Go inside your heart and see. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be kind, be true. May they be acceptable to you, oh my rock, and my redeemer. It is Pesach, and because this is a festival season, we add into our prayer services a Hallel, which consists of psalms of praise to give thanks to God for the many blessings that God has bestowed upon us in our lives. I'd like to invite you to turn now, let's see, what page are we on?
266.
Page 266, and rise for the Hallel.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu likro et ha'halel. Hallelu et Adonai kol goyim shalchuchu kol ha'umim ki gavar aleinu chasto
Praise Adonai, for God is good. God's steadfast love is eternal. We'll continue now with our Torah service, and I'd like to invite the Christus family to please come on up. We are on page 244.
אין כמוך באלוהים אדוני, ואין כמעשיך. מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים, וממשלתך בכל דור ודור. אדוני מלך, אדוני מלך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. אהבה רחמים, היטיבה ורצון ציון. תבנה חומות ירושלים, תבנה חומות ירושלים. כי בך לבד בטחנו, מלך אלוהים ונישא, אדון עולמים. 246. כי מציון תצא תורה, כי מציון תצא תורה, ודבר אדוני מירושלים. ברוך שנתן תורה תורה, ברוך שנתן תורה תורה, לעמו ישראל בקדושתו.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu, Kadosh Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. Gadol Adonai iti, uneromema Shemo yachdav. Lecha Adonai hagedol והגבורה והתפארת והנצח וההוד. כי כל בשמיים ובארץ, כי כל בשמיים ובארץ. לך אדוני הממלכה והמתנשא לכל ראש. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים העולם עומד. על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים העולם עומד.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shalom, Rabbi.
All right, so I'd like to invite for our Aliyah, before I give an introduction here to what we're doing, I'd like to invite the members of our worship committee subgroup who have helped to organize this experiment in worship and conversation on prayer. So that is our worship committee chairman, David Sutton, Shelley Limmer, Howard Herman, and Michael Freeman. And Elaine Springer is also part of the group, but Elaine is out of town this evening. So come on up. Now, I wonder, when do you think it would have been that Torah was last read on a Friday night at the Temple Beth-El? 10 years ago, maybe. Come on up. Come on up. Okay, so a long time. Now, this practice of reading Torah on Friday night is something that was an innovation of the early Reform movement. The reason for it was because when Reform Judaism began in the United States, its aim was to help make it possible for Reform congregants to attend services on Shabbat and also go to work on Saturdays, because that's how it was in the early days, that people used to have to work on Saturdays. So in order to make that possible so that they could make a living and also continue to practice the tradition, Classical Reform Judaism decided to make Friday night the major service of the week. That's different from what you experience at a conservative or Orthodox shul where Saturday morning is the main service. They made Friday night the main service because that's when people could come if they had to work the next day. And not only did they make Friday night the main service, but they did it late in the evening, sometimes like 8:30 at night. I mean, it was late. And one of the ritual practices that was common in those days was to read from the Torah on Friday night because, most people weren't going to be coming to synagogue the next day, and this was the only way they would hear the Torah read. So part of our experiment in worship is creating different service styles. As you know, I talked about it last time. And in this experimental service, we're reclaiming the practice of reading the Torah on Friday night. It's not something that we're looking to do every Friday night, but as part of a rotation of different service styles, we want to include it and embrace those roots of our tradition. So I'd like to invite you guys, come on up closer. Come closer. We're going to be reading the Aliyah from the book of Exodus, chapter 33, which is the special reading for the Shabbat of Pesach. It comes from Parashat Ki Tisa. So here at the portion, Moses is frustrated. This is right after the golden calf. Moses is very frustrated with the people that he's been charged to lead. He's exhausted and exasperated, and he asks God, he's like, God, you got to show me your face. I need to know what's up. I need to know that you're here with me because I'm not sure how long I can go on. All right, so let's join together, friends here, our worship committee, and the Aliyah, which is...
Page 250.
Page 250, okay. Thank you. Page 250. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Baruch Adonai Amvorach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai HaMorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Notein HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen.
Okay, Shelley, will you hold the scroll there for me, please? Amen. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe Gam et hadavar hazeh asher dibarta e'eseh ki matzata chen be'enai ve'eda'acha b'shem Vayomar hareini na et kivodecha Vayomer ani Avid kol tovi al panecha v'karati b'shem Adonai lefanecha v'chanoti et asher achon v'richamti et asher arachem v'yomer lo tuchal lirot et panai ki lo yir'eni ha'adam v'chai Vayomer Adonai, hine makom iti, v'nitzavta al hatzur, v'haya ba'avor, kivodi v'samticha b'nikrat hatzur, v'sakoti kapi alecha ad ovri, V'hasiroti et kapi, v'ra'ita et achorai, et achorai ufanai lo yera'u. You want to read the translation there?
The Lord said to Moses, carve 2 tablets of stone like the first ones, and I will inscribe upon the tablets the words that were on the first tablets which you shattered. Be ready by morning, and in the morning come up to Mount Sinai and present yourself there to me on top of the mountain. No one else shall come up with you, and no one else shall be seen anywhere on the mountain. Neither shall the flocks and the herds graze at the foot of this mountain.
All right, Shakot. The blessing after. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen. Stay right here. With the Sefer Torah here right in front of us, we turn our thoughts toward those members of our community, our friends and family who are ill and struggling and in need of God's healing and peace. If you're praying for someone this evening and you'd like to share their name, I invite you to do so now. Thanks, Ron. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Karen. Thanks, Phil. Thank you. Thank you, Donna. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Susan. Thanks, Abby.
Mayor Davis, Yitzchak Meir ben Yehudit v'David.
May God be with all of them and bring them a speedy renewal of body and spirit. Page 253.
May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu mekor habracha
Please rise.
וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל. עוד היא שיד משה. יאללה לי 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 לי
Yasher Koach. All right, so you see now this beautiful piece of furniture here in front of you. A rabbinate well-lived is one that is a blessing and an inspiration to those whom the rabbi shepherded, mourned with, and celebrated with. This podium, from which Rabbi Jacob Philip Rudin spoke to the congregants of Temple Beth-El each week, has been sitting in the hallway downstairs for the last decade or so, following a redesign of this chapel. But Abby and Andy Chrisus knew that this is not yet meant to be a museum piece. They knew that there are many more words to be spoken from this podium, many more words of Torah, words of inspiration and challenge, words that spark the mind, stimulate action, and invite reflection. Touched and illuminated by the life and teaching of Rabbi Rudin, Abby and Andy and their family generously sponsored to refurbish this podium so this vision could become a reality. Tonight, we gratefully accept and dedicate your gracious gift and this newly restored podium to the sacred purposes of our congregation, honoring the memory of Rabbi Rudin and his legacy of brilliance, courage, and wisdom. Inscribed here, and I'm just going to remove the talitot here so you can see it. Inscribed here on the front face of the podium is a verse from the Psalms. It says, "Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path." Tonight, Abby, you will give the inaugural sermon from behind this newly refurbished podium. May your words this evening and the words that will be spoken from this podium for years to come enlighten our eyes, guide us through the darkness, and help us understand and think in new ways. And may we, in the words of the Hasidic master Sfat Emet, be like the wicks of candles, ready and willing to receive the gift of light. Let's welcome Abby Chrisus.
Shabbat Shalom. I would like to begin by thanking Rabbi Stoller for inviting me to speak this Friday night as the Rabbi Rudin podium returns to the chapel after having been refurbished. My husband Andy and I would also like to thank Rabbi Stoller and Stu Botwinick for supervising and carrying out the restoration and rededication of the podium. It was our honor to be able to fund the restoration. We are blessed to have our daughter Amanda and our grandson Graydon here with us tonight representing our family. Our family has an almost 40-year history with Temple Beth-El and a special connection to this chapel and this podium. Both of our children, Alexander and Amanda, became bar and bat mitzvah here with Rabbi Jerry Davidson and Cantor Lisa Hest. And during a temple fundraising project in the 90s, we chose to endow this podium. The podium is central to the history of Temple Beth-El, as Rabbi Stoller said, this is where Rabbi Rudin gave many of his inspiring sermons as head rabbi of our congregation from 1930 to 1971. What is a podium or a bima? It's a platform from which the rabbi, cantor, bar or bat mitzvah individual, or guest speaker tries to further an understanding of Torah and bring people closer to each other and to God through Jewish thought and prayer. Rabbi Rudin said, "Prayer is a sanctuary and faith is an anchor." In this week's Torah portion, God teaches Moses how to pray. We see the intimacy of God's relationship with Moses. Moses, who is a prophet, a teacher, and the representative of the Jewish people. Moses asks to see God. He says, "Oh, let me behold your presence." The question that I asked myself was why? Why did Moses ask to see God? Was it solely for himself? Or did he ask on behalf of the Jewish people to have something to pass on to all future generations? The memory of this event is certainly relevant for all generations. God's response to Moses' plea is, "I will make all my goodness pass before you, but you cannot see my face, for a human being may not see me and live." The presence of God is so great, the energy so immense, that what we are able to perceive is only God's filtered or contracted presence in the world. Just like the sun, a life-giving force, if we were to get too close to the sun, we would be damaged. The sun's strength is too intense as God's power is too great. To save Moses, God could not fully answer his prayer. In my discussion with Rabbi Stoller on this parashah, he referenced a song by Garth Brooks, "Unanswered Prayers." It goes, "Sometimes I thank God for unanswered prayers. Remember when you're talking to the man upstairs, that just because he doesn't answer doesn't mean he don't care. Some of God's greatest gifts are unanswered prayers." God agrees to show Moses a little more of himself, more that Moses can pass on to the Jewish people, but he also protects him. God acts as a talit for Moses, sheltering him with divine compassion. Another recent song, this one by Rihanna, resonated with me. She sings, "Lift me up, hold me down, keep me close, safe and sound." We ask God to lift us up. We strive to be more righteous. We rise up in spirit, and we try to be more holy. The 10 Commandments teach us how to do this in the world that we are held down to. We want to be closer to God, and yet we simultaneously ask God to keep us safe, to protect us, to show us favor, and grant us peace. Even though we live in God's universe, we are only a very, very small part of that universe. Rabbi Rudin spoke about the difference between God's time and man's time. He said, "Man's time measures what has been. God's time comprehends the unmeasured beyond which is yet to be." I believe that generational tradition is where God's time overlaps with man's time. This is the lesson of Judaism. What is it to know God? Moses approached God with love, which is far greater than fear. At the center of this week's Torah portion is Moses' relationship with God. Moses pleaded with God on behalf of the Jewish people, begging God for mercy. Moses acted as a conduit for the Jewish people, God's people. He acted as a connection to God that embodied both giving and receiving. I would like to close with a quote from Rabbi Rudin from over 60 years ago, shared by him from this podium in this beautiful chapel on January 4th, 1963. May we paint, O Lord, with a larger vision, on a larger canvas. May we not hurry, but work slowly and patiently in the creation of beauty. May we set our hearts to the rhythm of thy time. May we hear striking in thy world the hour of brotherhood and peace. Amen. Shabbat shalom and thank you.
Thank you.
Amanda and Andy, come on, please, and stand here with Abby. I invite you all to please rise.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. Top of 287. May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding, loved each of us for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never ונאמר וחיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו You may be seated. As we turn to page 294, we turn our thoughts and our hearts to those who are observing Yortzites, those who are in Shloshim, or mourning for other loved ones and family members.
If you are comfortable and able to do so, I invite you to rise as you hear the name of your loved one read. On this Shabbat, we are in Shloshim, the first 30 days of mourning for Stephen Artsis, Gwen Klein, Robin Rosenberg, Jerome Serchuk, Cecilia Seal-Zuckerman. We recall the Yartzites of David Chodosh, Betty Davidson, Adrian Grodberg, Louis A. Kahn, Seymour H. Koppelman, Beatrice Levy, Martin J. Margolin, Eleanor Newmark, Edith Prenalek, Benjamin Schwab, Max Siegel, David Sokol, and Rose Landsberg. If you're remembering someone whose name wasn't read and you'd like to share it with us, I invite you to do so now. Thank you, Karen. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be for a blessing. We rise now, if it is your custom, and join on page 294. You may also choose to remain seated. We'll say Kaddish together. Yitkadal v'yitkadash meraba, be'alma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute, v'chayechon uvyomechon uvchaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv ve'imru amen. Yehe shmei rabba mevorach le'alam ulal me'almaya. Yitzbarach v'yishtabach v'yitzba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudasha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shmaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom mimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who makes harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, and to all the world. May their memories be for a blessing. We say together, amen. I invite you to remain standing before we sing our closing song. This period now between Passover and Shavuot is the period in which we count the Omer. We count each day, 49 consecutive days, culminating in the 50th, which is Shavuot. At Shavuot, we celebrate the giving of the Torah at Mount Sinai, and this act of counting days links the freedom at Pesach with the responsibility of Sinai. And so on page 278.
Hineni muchanum zoman, hineni muchanum zoman, hineni muchanum zoman, lekayem mitzvat aseh aseh, shel sfirat haomer.
I am ready to fulfill the mitzvah of counting the Omer.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat haomer.
Our praise to you, Adonai, sovereign of all, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to count the Omer.
Hayom Hayom Sheni Yamim LaOmer.
Today is the second day of the Omer. Please be seated. We'll close with Adon Olam.
Adon Olam on page 321.
Page 321, and I'd like to say thank you to Cantor, to Shai, for the beautiful, inspiring music. That song that we sang right after the Aleinu, by the way, was composed by Cantor Adam. So that's amazing to hear. And thank you to everyone on our team, Stu Botwinick and our whole office team. Thank you to Phil Perlman, our outstanding usher, who got our books all ready for us this evening as we came in. And let's see, let me get my thank you list out here. Where's my thank you list? I think I might be missing it. Oh, no, I have it. Never mind. Thank you to our Oneg bakers who did special Passover baking. Linda Diamond, Roberta Lulov, Ellen Safian, Gloria Landsberg, Aaron Hirsch Romero, Robbie Provder, Joanna Stolov, Donna Letterman, Beth and Adam Schneider, Martha Hirsch, Michelle Rosenblum, and Maria Margoloff. So after the service is over, please come down. We're going to have Oneg treats in the atrium, and we're going to have the conversation about the prayer service to debrief what we experienced. There also will be Oneg treats in the library for anyone who chooses not to participate in the conversation, but I know all of you are going to participate in the conversation, so we'll see you down there. And now we'll close with Adon Olam.
We'll close with Adon Olam, and all of you received the flyer in your prayer books. We're going to have a little preview of next week's Maimuna Shabbat. After Shabbat and after Passover, it is customary amongst many Mizrahi and Sephardic communities to celebrate the return of Chametz to their lives. And so the Moroccans have this lovely tradition of Maimuna, and our Persian friends have another one called Shab Isal. And so we're going to hear a melody that we'll hear next week using Adon Olam. Adon Olam, Asher Malach, Beterem Kol Yetzin Nivra, Leit Nasa, Bechefzo Kol, Asai Melech, Shemo Nikra, Ve'acharei Kichlot HaKol, Levado Yimloch Nora, Ve'hu Haya, Ve'hu Hoveh, Ve'hu Yeh Betifara, Ve'nolam Hashem Malach, Beterem Kol Yetzin Nivra, Ve'hu Echad Ve'ein Sheni, Ve'hamshil Lo Lehachbira, Ve'li Reshit, Ve'li Tachlit, Ve'lo Ha'oz, Ve'hamizra, Adon Olam, Hashem Malach, Beterem Kol Yetzin Nivra, Ve'hu Eli, Ve'chai Goali, Ve'tzochev li Be'itzah, Ve'hu Nisi, Umanos li, Benat Kosi, Be'yom Negera, Adon Olam, Hashem Malach, Beterem Kol Yetzin Nivra, Ve'yahado Avki Hidruchi, Ve'dishan Ve'ayra, Ve'imruchi, Geheviati, Adonai li, Ve'lo ira, Adon Olam, Asher Malach, Beterem Kol Yetzin Nivra, Leit Nasa, Bechefzo Kol, Azai Melech, Shemo Nikra.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, ve'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu.
זיכרון למעשה בראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. לחיים.
לחיים. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, המוציא מצה מן הארץ. Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Join us downstairs.
Shabbat Shalom.